Welcome to a Wonder Junkie podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Anderson, and if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate the show. That helps people to discover it on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, and it's also on Rumble. Enjoy the episode. All right. Rebecca, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you a couple of years ago at Sanchiretta's Coming Full Circle.
Yes.
That's where we first connected. She's a mutual friend of ours.
Yes.
You've known her for longer than I have, many years.
I've known her since 1999.
Oh my gosh.
So a good long while.
Yeah. So I met her through Don Howard, her brother.
Oh, sure. Right.
Yeah, so we became very close pretty quickly because it was sort of a thing where I was helping take care of him at the end of his life.
That's right.
And so when I went to her training where I met you and you played this lovely music, it was really cool to hear how she teaches death and dying and the whole thing. And you just got back from a recent retreat with her.
I did, yeah.
The first portion.
The first part, yeah, right in the middle of the two little
And how many
pods.
times have you done that? I'm just curious.
I think this would be my fourth or fifth time.
Awesome.
Doing this with her.
Cool.
Yeah, of doing a double,
awesome
workshop.
Cool.
Situation. Yeah.
And I'll be at the April part 2.
Oh, yay.
So,
I'm so glad.
yeah,
Good,
I'm pumped to go to that. That'll be like a full circle of the training. So because I met you there and you were playing this heartfelt music, I thought it would be really lovely to have you on the podcast and explore who you are and share some of your essence with more people. But today you're going to be performing a little bit for 40 people that are in my little breathwork group.
Yes.
So that's going to be amazing. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. So I would like to just sort of unpack a little bit of your journey, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And maybe you could share like how you began playing music, writing music, and where it all began, if you don't mind.
I began early. I knew what I wanted to be and do and all that, and was writing early and was even competing, like writing songs and then doing competitions and that kind of thing. So I was doing that when I was, from 11, 12, 13.
Oh,
yeah.
Dang.
And then my family life fell apart. My parents divorced, and it was the 70s, and they just really kind of took off to find themselves, and in that lost the kids a bit, more than a bit. We really did kind of work on our own,
Dang.
And so what came with that was, vulnerability, poverty, a number of things that it wasn't really safe for me to sing.
Wow.
There wasn't the resource and the support to do it. And it wasn't a time to have my voice be big and out.
Wow.
I needed to hide a bit, because 14, vulnerable, all of that.
Yeah.
What happens in that situation.
And this is in Boulder, where you grew up.
I was in Boulder, which, is so surprising because Boulder is such a beautiful, wealthy place. And, but people fall through the cracks every day, that you never know what child is falling through the cracks, or what mental health person, or addiction, or jail, just all the different ways in which a human can fall out of what, being held in humanity and held by a family or a group.
Yeah.
And so that occurred. And then it took, many years. I met my husband at 16.
Oh, wow.
And that was a definite, okay, I found somewhere to land.
Cool.
It was still very, by most people's standards, very spare.
Yeah.
He had 2 children, 2 babies, and we lived in a house with no running water and wood stove heat.
Wow.
So that we did that for a couple of years, and we had no idea if our relationship was. I mean, I was 16, he was 27, he had 2 kids.
Wow.
I had a lot of growing up to do.
And he's still your husband now?
He's still my husband.
Dang, that's amazing.
Yeah, and not only is he still my husband, I mean, we really are beautiful friends.
That's amazing.
Love each other and have a lot of fun.
Wow. What were some of the critical things that helped you get out of this early phase of suffering that you could remember?
Yeah, well, his love.
Yeah.
So that was, but even then, I mean, it was, he wasn't even divorced yet. His wife had left him, but so they were done, but he didn't really want to commit deeply in a relationship. So, his love was kind. He's a very kind man. So his kindness, but there wasn't a lot to hang my hat on, as far as, oh, here I am and I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but just day to day kindness from him.
Yeah.
The beauty of the children. I mean, Julie and Nathan, his little babies who are my
Mm.
stepchildren. They're now 40. Oh my goodness, 47 and 49.
Wow. So you
Yeah,
started taking on the mom role pretty early
very
in your
early.
life.
Yeah,
Wow.
very early. So there was the commitment to that and their needs.
Yeah.
So, thinking of having to think of others. There was that. Roger's kindness and the fun we had. And, it was a slow building because underneath I had lost so much self esteem. I had lost faith in myself. And I would say that even, before that all happened, before the fall of that, I was fairly um, overconfident without a lot of awareness of other people's suffering.
Got it.
Very privileged life. And um, so then moving into my own difficulty. And then that slow building of what is it, each esteemable act,
Mm.
one good act after another that, builds the integrity of self. And then a few fiery moments of really standing up for myself and saying, I deserve better.
Wow.
This is, um, so there were people along the way that supported me, like, you deserve more, it's okay for you to have running water, or you deserve more, um, you know, you should make more money, or, those kind of things. Cause I cleaned houses at
Mm.
that point. And, yeah. And so it was a slow build. And, part of what happened for me is, gosh, I'm trying to think, how did the timing on this all go? I didn't come back to singing until I was about 27,
Wow.
27, 28. And, and it was an amazing journey that my mother and I took. The kids were little, and I had gone back to school, so that was a big thing because I had dropped out of high school, and I'd gotten my GED early, but I dropped out of high school,
Mm.
and so I had some people, I was resentful. I noticed I was resentful of people who'd gone to college, and someone had said to me, well, why don't you go to college?
Yeah.
And so I applied and got grants and, all that, and started into college. And so I was in college, two little kids, and working. And my mother came to me and said, we're going to Egypt, and she and her friend, and will you come with us? And I was like, there is no way. I don't have the money. Like, there's no way. And she said, meditate on it. She said, just will you do me a favor and meditate on it and
Hmm.
see what you get? And when I sat in meditation on it, it was one of those profound meditations that, like the voice comes in and talks to you. And I had that,
Had you learned meditation before that? Like, had already
I
introduced?
had, my mother was an incredible seeker, and she, by the time I was 14, we had been through Catholicism, Christianity, studied with Sun Bear, Native American tribe,
Okay. Dang.
sat with Trippa Rinpoche, and she was part of that. And then she had a Hindu teacher.
Okay.
So there was a lot of that in my upbringing.
Wow.
So I went to sit and meditate on it, and literally a voice came in and just said, "It's all going to work out." Like, it was sort of the Sphinx, and just saying, "You must go on this trip. This is
Cool.
a must, and it's all going to come together." And I was like, "Wow, okay, that's wild."
Hmm.
Um, and it did. Within 2 weeks, I had all the money. All my classes said, "That's fine, go." And Kids recovered, job was okay, and my in-laws were even coming for Thanksgiving during that time, and
Cool.
they were just like, "We're fine, you go." And
Awesome.
so I went, and it was this amazing, amazing journey. We did a month through down the Nile through all the
Wow.
temples, ending at the pyramid,
Wow.
and it by chance ended up that there were two people doing sound studies in everywhere we went. A
Wow.
professional harpist,
Cool.
and she was looking for singers who. So my mom and I sang in these chambers
Oh my
all
gosh.
along the Nile in the temples,
Jeez.
and I had to say, for that month, I wept and wept and sang, and
Wow.
really opened again to being a singer, and that I had lost myself for a long time.
Wow.
And came back and very, very like dedicated. I'm going to take voice lessons. And it took a while to get my voice back.
That's
So,
incredible.
yeah.
So that's pretty amazing. You go to Egypt, you're probably 20,
I think I was 27 at that
27.
point.
You have this.
28, because I was a couple years into college.
That's
So.
amazing. So you come back, you start really going after being a singer. You knew that was probably your life path to share your voice with people. And then when did you start to perform in front of people and make it like your life?
Pretty quickly, actually. It was about a year or two into it that I ended up hooking up with a girl group. We were called the Goddess Blues Trio, and we sang
Cool.
a cappella harmonies and loved each other and loved singing. And so we started booking coffee shops and, all these various different places
Cool.
and writing songs for it. And yeah, so that was the way back in.
Cool. And how did you get deeper and deeper into Zen Buddhism? I know that's a big portion of your life.
I would say I got into Zen Buddhism backwards.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had a real attitude about Buddhism and Buddhists, and
Yeah.
because my mom had sort of run off with the Buddhists in the 70s when
Okay.
and so there was a part of me, and even
You saw the bad, like not the bad side, but the part that you didn't like.
I saw the back door, we'll put it that way,
Interesting.
that
Yeah.
because mom was kind of in with what was happening, and I just saw a lot of drinking and a lot of it just didn't look it looked crazy
Yeah.
to me. And I think it was, I think Trungpa Rinpoche's crazy wisdom, that was part of what he did, was there was crazy in
Okay.
it, but it was also wise, I had
Yeah.
that too. And
Like break everything that's too constricted.
yes,
It's like punk rock of spirituality.
Well, and he had that book, Spiritual Materialism. So
Okay, I haven't read that.
yeah, and I think that's an amazing teaching.
Okay.
And just the thought, the idea, the understanding of spiritual materialism, when you take your spirituality and you make it into this thing that you must acquire, and and go to levels,
Yep.
and attain enlightenment, just like,
Yeah.
and these people are in and those people are out, and and I thought he was brilliant at breaking down that sort of ego
Yeah.
of that. So that was part of his crazy wisdom.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to dive into some of that because I love learning from as many people as I can and taking little cliff notes from everyone, and then never really subscribing fully to any one. But I'm sure it's going to be fascinating to dive into some of that.
Yeah. And I'm very much the same way. I love all different philosophies.
Yeah.
And then I just find things that feel right and feel good.
Yeah.
Like working with Roshi. She is, Retta. She is one amazing human being. And she's become even more potently amazing because she had her stroke.
Yeah.
And she's come from that edge of dying and release and loss to, wow, an even more potent living.
Wow.
And potent teachings.
Yeah. It's like it refined and leveraged all of her energy, huh?
And some things dropped away. It's felt like some things have dropped away. And even just like some of the things she says that are off the cuff, that are less put together.
Good.
And it's and they're brilliant. you know.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, she said one the other day, and you know, she didn't even say it like she was teaching the group, and there's one's like, okay, everybody listen, you know, here's what we're talking about. And she just sort of said it out of the side of her mouth with a little grin. And she said, we're all a bunch of little ingrates. Like we're not, you know, we just don't see how, and with a smile, like this beatific smile
Mm,
of, we don't see how amazing every moment that we're here right
yeah.
now. That, you know, there's airplanes and we get to be together and we're healthy, and
Mm,
it just the astoundingness of existence,
that's amazing.
makes me want to cry.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, she had that in the transmission of what she was saying. So
That's amazing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure it's given her that recent stroke and everything has only given her more perspective on how important it is to just be here now. And she's
Hmm.
so good at that. Her and her brother both. They're my two best teachers when it comes to people that worked for many years from the Heart Center. And when
Yes,
they're with you, they're there.
they are
And they are looking at you. And I'm
present.
like, I get goosebumps thinking of her
Yeah.
because I had never met someone like him. And then she came to help sort some things out and really was my best resource
Mm-hmm.
during that time. And I didn't know who she was, but I could tell she could see so many layers of what I was going through, what everyone else was going through, and beyond that.
Yeah.
And then she was always like, what do you need? And like really meant it, not like, hey, can I give you some money? Or it was never just saying it, she meant it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll never ever be able to truly thank her enough as far
Mm-hmm.
as how she showed up for that portion of my little time with her brother.
Mm.
But then as our relationship evolved, I got to sort of unpack a little bit and learn a little more about how she became that woman. And it's like,
Mm.
wow, she's had a crazy cool life
Yes,
of
she has.
gaining that wisdom.
I,
So,
I think everybody has. You know,
yeah.
I want to write a song called. For years, I wanted to write this song called "Scratch the Surface," and
Mm,
just that you scratch the surface on anybody,
yep.
and you're going to find all
Layers.
kinds of lessons and life
Yeah.
turns and difficulties and amazing wins, and
It's very true.
yeah, that
We've all got depth of and infinite
of
souls of
experience.
experiences.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, very much
yeah.
so. So.
Well, I'd love to hear more about how you, because I was reading your website and I heard you sing. It was all this like heart medicine music, and it's
Mm-hmm.
all about liberation. And do you mind sharing a little bit of your mission when you're writing and when you're sharing music with people? Like, why do you do it? What
Oh
drives you?
gosh, I don't even know. You know, the why is so in in me
Mm-hmm.
that I don't even know how to answer that. You know, it's just it's in me.
Mm.
It's what I'm here to do. It's what I love to do, and I love sharing music with people, and
Mm.
I love taking nuggets of wisdom and putting them into a song so that there's a learning or a relaxing or a yay, you know,
Yeah.
a celebrating or a cheering or a we're not going to take this anymore, you know, whatever it
Mm.
is, that each song kind of holds its own medicine.
Where does it come from, each one? Are you always creating and like putting notes down, or how do you write a song?
Ah, it varies greatly. There are many doors, many paths to
Yeah.
letting a song through for me. Um, Sometimes it's an idea or something somebody says. Sometimes it's a guitar lick, you know, that
Mm.
will make something, a melody. Um, yeah, any which way. The I've learned over the years to be available to the muse. So
Mm.
when something comes to get out my, you know, have somewhere I can write and have my recorder so that
Mm.
I can put those fragments, you know, those sparks of something,
Got it.
into down, get them down, you know,
Yeah.
so that I can then play with it later. I have found too that just regular time scheduled to write
Mm-hmm.
is very helpful. You know, then it's like then it happens.
Yeah.
Then it's like I started this thing of every morning, 5 days a week, 15 minutes of writing. You know, that there's at least
Mm.
just I at least touch in and run something a couple times, or just open up and try something, or
Cool.
pick a idea and play with it. And you know, often that'll grow bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that's all I have is 15 minutes. So, but I still, I think there's such power in like that book Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was so great. That consistency is
Mm-hmm.
what really makes you prolific and makes you proficient. And
So cool.
yeah.
I love how most artists or writers, all forms of creativity, it seems like that's a common thread is that you have to show up. And there is a discipline and a letting go piece. It's like
Mhm.
a flow or a muse. And I'd love to hear your expression of what muse means or what that feels like to you. But we all feel it and we know what that means intuitively.
Mhm.
But we can tap it on demand if we show up and have a little bit of like if you're going to surf, you have to put the hours in and get out in the waves. But then over time, you have to let go and it becomes this place of selflessness. And
Yes.
with music, I'm sure you're like, if I don't show up these 20-minute sessions, it'll never come. It's not like you're just going to be waiting for it, I guess.
Right. I mean, it does come sometimes when you just wait and it drops in, but less,
Hmm.
do you surf?
No, I
Oh,
mean, I've
okay.
tried a few times. I've tried a few
I was
times,
like, that sounded
but I
cool.
look at life like a surf, like we're surfing waves, and the
Right.
ocean is this vast thing, and like we're
Always.
learning how to surf
Oh, I
in a way.
love that. Thank you. That's great. Because I totally believe in the wave, that
Yeah,
there's so much sound, light, everything is happening on the
yeah,
waves. So I like that surf in the waves. That's great. And we're getting more and more masterful at
yeah.
it. Yeah. It makes me think of one time the first time I paddleboarded
Mm-hmm.
in Hawaii, and there were a lot of waves. And so it was hard. I was having trouble. And somebody said, sing, Rebecca. And so I started singing, and it was like, oh, okay. For some reason now I can paddleboard, when I was singing. And I realized that it isn't just going with the waves. Like that's half of the dance. The other half of the dance is I need to know where I'm going. Like I have for me to have intent and for me to have some kind of drive,
Mm,
meeting where the waves are going was,
cool.
and I've found that in manifesting and found that in ultimate creativity, that the having a drop of intent, a drop of what I'd like to, what my impulse, what I'd like to create,
Mm,
into the vast waves of it all,
that's amazing.
into the container of it. And when you look at, I got so excited by this, when you look at resonance
Yeah.
and um, the power of music, the power of waves, that you need three things for resonance. And I think this is true for manifesting also, that you need a container, you need space, and a wave or a particle, through that. And that creates resonance. And I believe resonance is what is all happening, at this. But and I look at like the container is made by agreements. I agree or I commit, to putting 15 minutes in 5 times of, or we agree to do a concert or to
Yeah.
do a podcast. So there's this container is set,
Mm,
and that container holds the space. So then it's important. That's the part that's like really magic, is the
mm.
space part.
That's
But
so cool.
yeah, and then the wave is the intent of what we're really after.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love thinking like that about life. Like biology has little boundaries and borders and it needs pressure and resistance, but it also needs freedom and physiology and physics. And it's all like vibration and particles. And then you're like, what is consciousness and what am I? And how do I relate to the experience? And how do
Mm.
you find yourself more in flow versus butting up against things and constantly feeling like, why is this not working?
Mm-hmm.
And it
Mm-hmm.
requires discipline, but surrender.
Yes, the combo.
The
The
combo.
combo is it is not too loose, not too tight. So
Yeah.
sobriety and abandon.
Yeah.
Always that. Yeah, that there's a clarity and a verve, like an aliveness verve to what we bring. And then there's what Retta calls the open hand,
Mm.
in it. That there's, we're not here for the outcome. We're not in the outcome business,
Yeah.
but we're here to play the game,
Right.
do that.
How
Yeah.
much does the breath pay? I mean, it's huge for singing, and you're singing and moving, and so you're a breath practitioner master.
I don't know if I go that
Singers,
far, but
singers usually are. They've mastered their diaphragm, even if they haven't thought it. Some singers sometimes aren't even aware of the mechanics physiologically,
mm,
but they're doing it better
mm,
than most.
most, yeah,
So
because you have
I would
hold.
love to hear your perspective on training the breath or
Mm.
how it feels when you're singing and using the breath, or did you grow up training it? when you were singing and training to learn how to
No,
sing?
I never really trained in
Wow.
any of that. I mean, there was a little bit of yoga, learning
Mm-hmm.
breath work and yoga,
Yeah.
and that type of thing. And honestly, I still am working with it. My tendency to breathe up, into my uh, chest, and rather than into my belly and let the diaphragm really go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was pretty enlightening for me when I realized that the diaphragm's resting position is up.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we breathe, it's a breathing, it actually pushes the belly out. And, when we pass and take our last breath, the whoosh, that will be our last movement, will be that. So it was like, oh, so when I'm singing, I'm actually going to that.
Mm.
There's the sit up, there's the verb,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the in breath, really allowing that to expand,
Yeah.
the bellows of that. So it is really key when I work with people because I teach vocal freedom and vocal mastery. And
Cool.
it's very key, the breath. There's so much that can be adjusted for people. And I don't, you do a lot of teaching of breath. And I don't know about what you find, but I find that if I focus too much on it and I'm a little too directing or
Mm-hmm.
stringent, people get really uptight.
Yeah.
It's like that consciousness on the breath. All of a sudden, they're thinking about it, and
Yeah.
it's yeah. So that's um,
Its own hindrance.
own hindrance. So it is like to just bring 3 casual breaths, and then help people to get into their bellies.
Yeah.
That's and their hips.
Yeah.
A lot of people are toothpasted up into their minds and shoulders and
Yeah.
hearts too, but a lot of times forgetting to use the bottom of their body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I've learned and share is freedom.
Mm.
And we use the breath if we can't feel free in the breath to just let go. It's more about letting go and giving a lot of people, at least I get people from so many walks of life, some that have never done any breath work and they have a lot of anxiety and they're holding.
Mm.
And then you have some people that come that are like Kundalini people that have been doing breath work. And when you get a mix of people, it's like, all right, we're all here to have an experience, but we should have a lot of freedom too, because the breath is your teacher, and
Right.
so I'm all about getting out of the way and letting go and seeing what happens intuitively if we have some fundamentals and we can just see what
Mm.
happens. But I think life is like that too.
Mm.
We can over control things. Like when you travel, if you over plan, there's no room for serendipity.
Right.
And someone,
Right.
right when you get there, the locals are like, you should really go over here. And you're like, no, I have a plan. And it's, so I'm always trying to find a way to think of life as a travel
Mm.
and how do we
Mm.
become more free.
Mm.
And it seems like your music is a lot about freedom.
Absolutely. I'm big on freedom.
Yeah.
If I ever feel anything kind of closing in on me, I'm pretty like, I need to have my space and movement and capacity to explore and adventure and all of that. A lot of the songs I write are about breaking free,
Mm-hmm.
from our minds, dropping into our hearts, and I'm thinking one song I'll probably sing it tonight. "Let's Be Too Much."
Okay.
That just how we're so many of us learned as we got domesticated as little children, so we
Mm-hmm.
weren't just little wild animals running around. The We learned like we would have this bigness of self and excitement or whatever, and then that would get dampened
Yeah.
because it was too loud or was interfering with the adults, and that's understandable, but I think it gets overdone. I think
Mm.
there's a balance there, and so I meet many adults that are very contained,
Yeah.
and like we were talking about the container for resonance, and there's, I would say, 90% of the time people need to expand their container, and they're just literally moving in their kinespheres,
Yeah.
like their space that is theirs to move in.
Yeah.
People are, kind of tucked in or tucked back or want heads forward, but this is back. And, what is it to just own this space?
Yeah.
And I would say the majority then of people really are in need of that expansion
Mm.
rather than, wow, you really need to bring it in, like there's not that many, there's always a balance because people will go big and then they'll be like, they'll experiment and it'll be too big, like
Yeah.
uh, they might trip over something, or they might feel like it's too much energy and they need to kind of bring it down a notch. One of the teachers that I've worked with two teachers, Gay Hendricks and Katie Hendricks, and they talk about the upper limit problem, and that's when
Mm.
people really when you begin to really own yourself and your voice, the voice of your whole being,
Yeah.
and there's so much joy in it because you're living on path.
Mm.
You're doing what you love. You're meeting people that are doing what you're doing. Like there's
Yeah.
a way in which your life just begins to expand. And
Mm.
with that, the problem or the issue becomes our capacity, our nervous system's capacity, and our mental, emotional capacity to experience joy, success, love,
Mm.
on larger and larger quantities.
Got it. So the
Yeah.
balance of as you're expanding and manifesting, if you will, or whatever, there's a balance of appreciating along the way and really taking account for what already is as a balancing. Because I find this in the mic, I'm always feel like I'm a baby. Like I'm always just barely learning, And then you have these experiences where like, whoa, I've been here for a long time,
Mm,
coming through different lives, maybe
mm,
reincarnating. But then I always feel this beginner's mind as
mm.
like a
That's
humility
great.
factor.
That's great.
And it's something for me to practice because sometimes you're like, oh, I think I got it or whatever. And then someone comes along and you learn that you don't have it at all, actually. And
Right.
someone's been doing this for a long time. And so the beginner's mind, but maybe the appreciation, taking account for how lucky we are and how
Mm.
grateful we are for the body that we're in. And so, what is the balance for humanity? It seems like we do have a problem with the manifestation piece because we just are taught that we can believe and achieve anything,
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill. And then we do that without any orientation towards what are the unintended consequences of
Sure.
this act or
Mm.
why am I doing it? And there's not as much reflection in the process.
Yeah, I have strong sense of that. And it also ties into what I was talking about, the upper limit problem.
Mm,
The solutions for that are a number of different things. And basically what happens when you get to that upper limit problem of, expansion into joy and love and all that, more than you can handle, um, is your one breathing. Breathing is huge because it creates more space.
got it.
So what's happening when you hit that wall of that is that your vibration has become too big for the space you normally live in.
Mm,
So what is it to expand through breath, through slowing down a lot of times helps, or speeding up and just letting yourself, rather than trying to contain yourself, just let yourself run around like a dog with the zoomies,
mm.
just let yourself zoomy, it's
Yeah.
like, I'm so excited, um, yeah, it's funny because like even today I had something happen and it was really great. It's something I really wanted to happen. And I kind of was on to the next thing and on to the next thing. I haven't even had a moment to celebrate that it's
Yeah.
like, so it ties into the appreciation factor. Sometimes when you're in that, I am experiencing so much joy and so much money and so much, that it's like appreciating almost makes it stronger. So
Okay.
it's like
Mm.
just being present
Yeah.
is what makes the difference. And the, I think, your question that you just posed around for your humanity, to me, it's like if we are home, if I'm in my body and
Yeah.
I'm right here, and in my body mind, my body awareness, rather than just my mental spin, um, my decisions are way more informed.
Mm.
They're, I am going to sense somebody hurting in the room. I'm going to sense to turn the water off. I'm going to, there's because I'm here,
Yeah.
and there's an innate wisdom that occurs by being here,
Mm.
and an innate chi,
Yeah.
that we move into the chi rather than our forcing ourselves, or forcing our will or our impulses on things. I think there's also something too that I found very exciting and also very real is at a certain point I found that committing my creative impulses and who I am to the greater whole, that is key.
Yeah.
That I found that my capacity to live the life of my dreams happened way easier by doing that.
Wow.
The And it's backwards because would think I got to get what I want, and it's like, but
Mm.
to really, I think it really comes to the place of we are all one. This is all one thing.
Yeah.
And if I am thinking of the greater good, the like, let's just make an example. Tonight at the concert,
Yeah.
if I go into that with like, how can I be of the greatest creative flow for everyone here?
Cool.
Like, how can I give what everyone most needs? Guide me,
Mm.
universe,
Mm-hmm.
on which songs to pick and how to go, and how to get over myself, in certain areas. I will end up having a fabulous time.
Right.
Like and I've just seen it happen so many times. And there's also the place in which I don't rub against what is.
Mm.
I am with what is because of
Beautiful.
that commitment. And so there's this beautiful dance that occurs. And Retta said this at one point. I can't remember what she was teaching me, but I got very present. And she said, and I said, oh my gosh, I'm so satisfied. I'm so happy. Like, I just shifted it in 3 breaths and I'm here. And she said, yes, being present is innately satisfying.
Mm.
So I think there's a piece too that, like, when we run around in our heads and we're not truly receiving life and other people, we're hungry. And so there's this
Mm.
going after, I need more, thing,
Mm.
that if we're here and in service of the whole, it's innately, the cup is being
Interesting.
filled.
Yeah.
Because you are the cup.
That's really neat the way you've described that.
Mm.
So, like, the root of suffering then is the lack of presence for the most part. But there is sometimes, if you're truly embodied and
There's
there's
pain.
grief and there's all the things that she's talked about, I'm sure you can speak to, that is still pleasurable,
It's
right? Like, grief can
odd.
be one of the most powerful things to weep and to truly feel, but you're there. And, like, you lose your dog or something truly painful
A
versus
loss.
avoiding it and moving because you don't want to feel. We repress that energy. So it's interesting. How did you learn all that? I mean, that took years, and you still are learning, I'm sure, as you go. But what
Absolutely.
are the ways in which you sort of feel like you could look at that brought you to the fact that knowing that being in your body and being present and being as lucid as you can for the human experience would be the best orientation?
Mhm. It's been ahas along the way,
Yeah.
honestly. One very big aha came from Gay Hendricks' work and his book, The Big Leap.
Okay.
Have you read
I
that? Oh,
haven't.
it's fantastic.
Cool.
That book is, and it's little, like, it's just a little easy read.
Is he
And
alive?
he is alive.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and still teaching. He's got some fantastic podcasts
Oh,
and things
cool.
that he's
I'll
doing.
dive into that.
Yeah, really interesting
Is
man.
he a
And
Buddhist or no?
no,
Just
no,
sort of a wise guy.
oh, he's a wise guy, totally a wise
He's a
guy.
wise guy.
And his wife, who is dear, dear, dear to my heart, also, a global teacher, and how many books on the New York Times bestseller list.
Cool.
And they did a lot of couples therapy, and so they worked a lot with loving consciousness,
Awesome.
conscious loving. They have a book called Conscious Loving. So both of them amazing. But the one day I was flying into one of Katie's, his Gaze and Katie are together, Katie's trainings, and I had read the book, and I read it a number of times just to kind of re-get it. And I'm flying in and I went, I get it.
Mm.
The big leap is this. This is the big leap.
Yeah.
Is to come home.
Love it.
Is to really be here. And, and that plays out in so many ways. That one, just what we talked about of being present in the moment, and even with the difficult things, to be with rather than resisting what is. So like when my husband got sick, it was like, oh, not what you want to hear, not what you want to deal with. And yet to be with him in it, and
Wow.
was exquisite in our relationship. Our relationship changed,
Wow.
greatly in
Yeah.
that. So, had I resisted it or avoided, or that would have been a different thing.
Yeah.
So, not only does it happen then in the presence, in that way. Oh gosh, what was the point I was going to make? There's another way in which the big leap is about taking responsibility.
Mm.
So, when we get into arguments or we get into something difficult, a challenging situation, the powerful move to go here instead of blaming,
Yeah.
that has been a game changer for me on really understanding that anything that is an issue, to come home and go, what's my part? I
Mm.
have on some level created this in my life,
Wow.
that this is manifesting in my dream. And, um, I just had somebody ghost me, and I've never had that happen before.
Yeah.
And it was painful.
Yeah.
It was, and I didn't see it coming. I got that there were some hiccups and problems, but I didn't get that. And immediately, it was really easy to go to like, she's this, that, or the other. And instead it was just like, okay, what did I do? Where have what game have I been playing? Like what have
Hmm.
my behaviors been? And what do I do now?
Yeah.
And really also in that is a separation of like, that's her stuff,
Yeah.
like just really separating who she's there, I'm
Yeah.
here, and being able to go, wow, yeah, that's her personality. That's her way of dealing with this. Mine, it would be to communicate.
Yep.
Mine would be to come together and have a sweaty conversation and work through. But it's like, oh, okay, yeah, there were some ways in which I didn't appreciate her, and okay, that's real. I'm going to appreciate people more. There are also some ways in which I saw some red flags and I didn't pay attention. I was like, no, I'm
Mm.
just going to keep going without going, oh, this may not be a good business relationship or a good
Yeah.
commitment, in this thing.
Yeah.
So really learning to be, or maybe I didn't have all the information and I said yes, and then the information changed it. And
Yeah.
so, but being able to come home and just say, I said yes before I had all the information. So
Yeah.
I need to go in there, take responsibility and say, this is not going to work for me with the new information. And how do we work this out?
Yeah.
Kind of
And
things.
then not taking it personal and not reacting, which is common in our human experience. And then
Yeah.
we've all got family and friends and people we love that have suffered from addiction and pity and victimhood where it becomes this loop. And I've
Yes.
always been very curious about it and try to, have compassion for it because I love my family and friends and people that are in a
In
loop.
that. Yeah.
But you're like, what is the core? And the responsibility piece
Mm.
seems like it's in there, but you're like, man, I wonder what it would take for someone to realize that they can take a slice of responsibility for it and then climb their way out of this
Yeah.
trap.
I love what you're saying, because what I feel is when you come here, this is where you have the creative traction. This is actually where you can make a difference and you can work with what's
Yeah.
happening. If you're over there, there's nothing really, there's no traction. So
Right.
when you said this, it was like you literally were going traction,
Yeah.
piece by piece on
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And I think another piece of what you're talking about, when people react, really it's about emotion, and that's another piece of responsibility, is to
Mm.
take responsibility for our feelings, that
Yeah.
and become literate in our feelings. This is another beautiful teaching of Gay and Katie's. The pillars of integrity is what they call it. And the act of going, wow, I notice when you said that, I'm angry, or I'm scared, and I'm wanting to act out of scared, and I'm just going to breathe here for a
Mm.
minute and just be with my scared for a
Right.
minute. And wow, I guess I realize I'm scared I'm going to get pushed around, or I'm scared you're going to leave me, or like, it is such a game changer when you go
Yeah.
there, rather than just you get a feeling, and then you react on the feeling,
Yeah.
and to take responsibility for your feelings
Yeah.
and
That's
let other
powerful.
people have them.
Yeah.
That somebody else is getting angry, and you can just be able to go, oh, okay, it feels like you're angry.
Yeah.
This is, are you angry?
Yeah. And it seems like addiction does stem from trying to medicate or avoid that, whatever the feeling is, instead of maybe dealing with the difficulty of sitting with it
Mm.
and processing it and then integrating it or doing something about it to maybe make things better. It's
Yeah.
energy, and motion is emotion. So it's like it is the life force of our experience.
Yes.
But so much of our Western culture is medicate the symptom.
Mm.
You shouldn't have to suffer. You have pain in your body. I remember I hurt my back and the doctor wanted to medicate immediately,
Mm.
and injections and then surgery. And it's like, well, why is the signal going? Why am I feeling pain? Maybe I
Right.
should try the yoga thing, or maybe I should go to an acupuncturist, or maybe I should think about the fact that we can heal ourselves. And so it's like
Yes.
it was my best teacher.
Mm.
And I feel like emotions or painful heartbreaks and death,
Mm.
they can all become the thing that actually, if we take responsibility, it could be the best thing that ever happened to us.
Yeah.
Always.
I love what you just said. The pain. It's like, why is the pain signal happening?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that it could be physical, like what you're talking about, but also like in a relationship.
Yeah.
Why am I experiencing suffering here? What is the pain signal?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to control, or
Yeah.
or they're trying to control me, or
Yeah.
whatever that is. So that's so beautiful that the pain is the flag to the deeper,
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah. And some teachers, I forget, John Sarno's or somebody who wrote Healing Back Pain, a lot of it was psychosomatic or
Mm.
emotional pain that was
Mm.
repressed. And so it does turn up in little blockages or physical pain. And then we become hyper focused on this physical pain.
Mm.
And then I would notice, like, I went in 2012 to Burning Man. Someone bought me a ticket. I'm like, I'll go there. And as I'm riding around this novel environment, I had zero pain. And I was
Mm.
at a point where I couldn't even put my boots on. I
Oh,
mean, it was crazy. I
wow.
was almost didn't go on the trip. But I remember being out there and becoming aware of that and going, oh, so this is a little bit of a relationship.
Mm.
And I'm focused on it when I'm home because I wasn't maybe, I had to do some work, but I realized pain is just a signal. Don't be identified with it.
Mm. Mm.
And there's something deeper there.
Mm.
But I think there's a lot of people in physical pain, and it comes from so much more than trying to get it fixed mechanically.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
don't know. I'm always thinking about why suffering and how to mitigate it.
I love that. I think that fits like your job, right? I mean,
Totally.
your job is to help
Yes.
others, in pain and
Yeah.
in suffering, and your job is, are you you're
Firefighter, paramedic
that's what I thought.
as
Yeah,
a main
firefighter,
job. Yeah.
paramedic. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, along with breath work, which is also helping others. So
Trying. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Trying to triage. That's what we do best in the fire service is we
Mm.
go to scenes that are just not good.
Mm.
And what's the most impactful thing we can do to have the most leverage in the
Mm.
moment? And sometimes that's how I try to think of life too. Like
Mm.
right now, we're in a really weird time on a planet where everyone's becoming aware of a lot of things.
Mm.
And so there's a lot of suffering. There's a massive trauma happening in real time with just the average person like my mother now becoming aware of just how weird things probably have been for a long time.
Mhm.
So you're like, all right, how does someone like my mother deal with these weird new facts?
Mhm.
And a lot of it would be the simple fundamentals of get up for morning sun and connect with your breath and
Mhm.
unplug from the thing
Yes.
and stay healthy and keep your vibration healthy and
Mhm.
go back to serving others in the community, which is what she's best at. And so it's like sometimes it is the most simple, free stuff.
Mhm.
And right now we all want to do something about this archetypal power structure that we can all feel is happening. At least I
Oh
think
yeah.
so, right?
Mhm.
What do you think about the current status of
Whew.
our time and what people should do on the micro level? I know that's a weird, deep
It's a
question.
big question. It's such a big question. I think you're right. That what it feels like you're, speaking to is that things are emerging that have been there for a long time.
Yeah,
And they're actually coming to the surface and we're seeing them and they're getting exaggerated to
yeah,
see them. Just even the things happen like the Epstein stuff,
yeah,
it's like that has been rampant,
yeah,
and so for that to be in the front of people's consciousness and that's happening at the level
mm,
it's happening, and global warming. I mean, there are just so many pieces,
yeah,
to this. For me, I think that we're sort of like different bees, in the
yeah,
hive, and we all have different jobs that we're kind of better for. And, I have friends that are writing protest songs and they're really out there, raging against the machine,
yeah,
like really just, and and shining a light.
Yeah, like
The
activist.
activist
Mm-hmm.
shining a light, that kind of activist. And I find for me, I really love being in the resonance of love.
Mm.
I if I get triggered into anger and fear and that, it's like not where I want to live, and it's not where I want to teach from.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little bit more in the peaceful protest, sing the songs. A great example is when they came up with that beautiful song, um, to sing to ice.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't know who wrote that, but it was brilliant creativity.
yeah.
To it, they weren't fighting them. They weren't standing at the wall, at the building. They were singing, "Hey guys, you can change your mind. You can come to us anytime." It's like it's okay.
Yeah.
And to me that was beautiful use of song and of group, gathering a group.
Yeah.
And being a singer, I'm on microphones, I'm on the radio, I'm, there. So there is a leadership that
Yeah.
happens, in that way. And so, even last night I had a show, and, that's a group of 50 people and 40, 50 people. And in that, it's what are we going to do with the vibration?
Yeah.
And I'm leading a lot of that. So, of course, we're in play
Yeah.
with each other, but I'm on the microphone. I'm the one kind of doing the next tune, and
Mm.
so my feeling is for everyone to find what their genius is. What they truly love to do, um, and then bring that to any way that you can.
Yeah.
I think to build more love is one job of the one worker bee,
Yeah.
is to do that. And certainly some songs can point to, and this is happening.
Yeah.
And we can remain balanced in our bodies. We can remain out of fear, not play the fear game.
Yep.
Like this is really moving out of that into true creativity.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my approach to it. I mean, I
Yeah.
still will be marching
Yeah.
and peacefully.
Yeah.
That is I think there's real power in that. So, and everybody's different.
Yeah.
Joe Neguse is a Democratic leader, congressman, yeah, and he's on the front lines. Like that's his, and he's good at it. He's
Mm.
really good at it,
Yeah.
and he's in service of humanity. He's one of those politicians that is that,
Yeah.
and so that's his job.
Yeah.
So I think everybody has to find their own
Yeah.
way.
I agree. I love that because, yeah, each person has their own experience. And so it's like what comes through you is the thing that you're supposed to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we get sort of hijacked by some narrative or mind control experiment that they have superpowers on now with screens, it's real easy for us to lose our self, our
Yes.
deep self.
Yes.
And so each person, I think right now, it's the best idea you can offer is to maybe back away from the hypnosis that we're being put under
Yeah,
and pull into your own power,
absolutely.
know,
And connect with others in that power,
connect with
in your
others and
power.
realize there's no left, right. At this point, Team Human, we're being played.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some really sophisticated technological means to do that now, unfortunately, but it also means that our spirits will grow exponential in this time.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of hope for this time. And there's like a dying happening of a cycle. And that's a cycle that's been going on for human history. And we're at this weird end point of something to something new. And so it's going to be weird.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want people to be in their nervous system. And like you said, have that ability to breathe freely and to think clearly and to tap into something older.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
And tap into, it's right here.
Yeah.
I find that when I come home, to right here, right now, one, it's just there's so much potential in this moment.
Yeah.
It's
I love that you keep doing that because it hones me in too as you remind me to do that.
Right. That it's just so easy to get pitched out.
Cerebral. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cerebral and pitched out.
Yeah.
And I think that the Thich Nhat Hanh, I was just reading one of his books.
He's my favorite.
Love him.
Yeah.
What is it? My son, my mountain, my son, or something.
I haven't read that one.
Yeah, but one thing he was talking about is a whole chapter was on do not allow yourself to be colonized.
Okay.
And it was this, where are you spending your attention?
Yeah.
This is, our attention is, the powers that are manipulating have learned that our attention is the money.
Yep.
Our attention is because our attention is then what grows,
Yeah.
and where we'll put our money, and
Mm.
it just is like our consciousness is the biggest resource,
Yeah.
so where are you putting your attention?
Yeah.
And Katie Hendricks did such a beautiful exercise called looping, and where you loop your attention to someone or something,
Hmm.
and you land fully. Like, most people do not land fully. Like, there's
Right.
this sort of in between thing, and allowing myself to land on, like, oh, there's Ryan,
Yeah.
and then to come home and land fully back
Yeah.
and be in myself. And you can feel the difference when
Yeah.
somebody is home. There's a, yeah, so it's just such a different game, and then we become more and more conscious of where we're putting our attention.
Yeah.
So, every once in a while I'll be on my phone, and I'll be scrolling, and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah. It's like you were hijacked.
Yeah, well, I let myself get colonized,
Yeah.
so it's like and it's like, okay, off you go. I actually went to check an email for something to connect with somebody.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And that part, okay.
Yeah.
And a little bow of appreciation for consciousness in the
Yeah.
moment, and also a little bow to my humility of got caught again,
Yeah.
and then to be all right, and now where do I want to be?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. Would you mind sharing, just for the audience, because I've already learned quite a few names and resources of people that have really inspired you, maybe some more, some teachers and some books and some authors, or people that you really feel would be a blessing to someone
Helpful for
else?
people.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm forgetting his name, but this book is so good, and I have worn out, I think, my third copy of it. I went to order it on Amazon, and I couldn't find it there, so I need to go home and read the author's name. So I
Okay.
apologize, I can't.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, it's Creative Victory. Oh, I
Okay.
think it's Tomas is the. I just pictured the cover, and it's along the Carlos Castaneda's Don Juan work, or Ruiz work,
Yeah.
kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
shamanic. And Creative Victory is a beautiful book,
Cool.
around how to preserve our resource of self,
Awesome.
and guide our intent.
Awesome.
Basically our intent, our attention.
Yes.
Where are we putting our attention? That's a great one. Trying to think of Pema Children. Love her
I
stuff.
love her too.
The Wisdom of No Escape, I thought, was a beautiful, beautiful book.
Cool.
Of course, anything you can get of Roshi, Retta, fabulous. Anything you can get of Gay and Katie Hendricks.
Yeah, I wish Roshi had a book, but she has enough online stuff. But
yeah,
man, she would have a great book, wouldn't she?
Would have a great book. So maybe we need to talk to her about that. And,
Yeah.
see if we can get her. Maybe she's working on one and we don't know.
Yeah.
That's very possible.
Mm.
Yeah, who else? I think of some of the singers that are out there, and so they're not books, although some of them do have books.
Sure.
Brandy Carlisle,
Cool.
I think, is a force of good. Very, very beautiful what she's doing.
Cool.
I think Bruce Springsteen is doing some really cool stuff. Trying to think who else.
Cool.
Some of the other mystics I've worked with, they don't really have books, and they're just more
teaching in the moment.
Teaching in the moment.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good. I just wanted to get a few, so I already got quite a bit there.
Yeah,
That's nice.
great. Yeah.
And I know we have a show coming, so I'm going to keep it shorter today. Unfortunately, I'd love to keep going, but I ask everyone, if you were going to die today, this was it, would you want to say anything to the world that's important to you? You've said a lot already, but
honestly, the first thing I would say is to my beautiful husband how much I love him. That would be what I would do first. And say to the people, everything you can do to drop into your heart. And that's challenging. And and to be kind to yourself, to others, and at the same time to be firm. That if you have a no to something, like, be true to yourself. It's a yeah, be true. When you have a yes, go for it. When you have a no, stop it. Get out of it. Be done.
Yeah.
And
It's amazing.
and that's the way I call that the binary code of true creativity are our yeses and nos. We build a whole life on our yeses and nos. And if we are home, we're going to have a lot more information on those yeses and nos. We're going to be tuned in because we're here. We're tuned into the whole picture, the chi of it all. And in that, I'm amazed at when I'll get a no to something, and logically it makes great. I should do it. And everyone wants me to do it. But my body is going, I gotta know, on this. And then it plays out and I'm like, that's why, and how my body knows that information that hadn't happened yet. Because I'm guessing, because space and time is relative.
Yeah.
And when we're really, really here, we're connected to it all. So it's beyond space and time, our awareness.
Thank you for sharing this. It's been nice connecting with you, and I'm so excited to hear you play today.
Oh, I'm excited too.
Yeah, and it'll be nice to share this with so many people. I can't wait for other people to discover
Me too.
you.
I'll look forward to
thank you for sharing a little bit of you.
And thank you for being such a beautiful human being. I was saying to everyone, I'm meeting with Ryan, and he's such a wonderful good person.
Thank you.
Yeah, just your sense of giving and your desire for good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel the same in you. It was nice to connect with you up at Sanchi's too, and everyone there. It was just a special thing. So I get to see you again there. So thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rebecca.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Yay.
Thank you for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed it, please share it and subscribe to the show and rate the show. That helps people to discover it. And enjoy the next episode.